lose to the San Diego Padres. So we're all back for the postgame show when it's over in Milwaukee. Right now, Gary, Keith, and Ron in the booth and on the call. Mets and the Brewers, huge game today. Enjoy it right here on SNY.
At American Family Field in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, the New York Mets play the Milwaukee Brewers. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Volkswagen. By Citi, for each Mets home run at Citi Field during the regular season, Citi will donate $2,000 to No Kid Hungry. By Tunnel to Towers, donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. By Toyota, Toyota's versatile lineup shines on every drive. Toyota, let's go places. And by Catholic Health, long live Long Island. Well, American Family Field has not been particularly friendly to the Mets the last few years. Of course, the Brewer fans, they've got nothing on their minds except having a good time. A little cornhole, they're flipping for their Brewers, flipping cups, flipping burgers. They're in the postseason. They're all ready to go for Tuesday. As for the Mets, they've got work to do. It's supposed to be the final day of the regular season. It may or may not be. The Mets right now a game behind the Braves and percentage points ahead of the Diamondbacks. But here's what it comes down to today. The Mets clinch a postseason berth today with a win and a Diamondbacks loss. The Braves clinch a postseason berth with a win or a Diamondbacks loss. And Arizona clinches a postseason berth with a win, and the Mets and Braves both losing. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Milwaukee. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, Ron Darling with you today for the final Sunday of the regular season as the Mets take on the Brewers, what was supposed to be the last day of the season and may or may not be. And despite all the mishigas for the Mets this week, 3 losses, all looking bad, 2 rainouts along the way, they still can clinch a postseason berth today, but they need to get their bats going. They've scored just 7 runs in their last 4 games.
Look, they had a wonderful 6-1 homestand. This has only been 3 games, and Mother Nature stuck her big nose right in the middle of this road trip, and that wasn't helpful. They skipped a beat here. They came here against the Brewers here, and I think they knocked them on their heels with their speed. They played a little timid, I feel, and let the Brewers dictate. They need to get good pitching. They need someone to come up and get that big hit that gets this team going. And they're in the driver's seat.
And Carlos Mendoza will have his veterans in the lineup today. Starling Marte and J.D. Martinez are both in there against Colin Ray. Meanwhile, David Peterson goes for the Mets, the biggest start of his life.
You know, it's interesting, Gary. I too had games that were the biggest starts of my life. Some of them were unbelievable. Some of them were awful. And when they were unbelievable, it was very simple. I threw strike 1. I was not afraid of contact. I tried not to be perfect and made sure that I used my fielders in the field. One advantage he's going to have, because Milwaukee has been trying to run the Mets off this field, is that he should be able to mitigate the stolen base game with his move and his move to the plate.
The Brewers 17 for 17 against the Mets, stealing bases in 5 games this year. Mets and Brewers coming up on SNY. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by your Tri-State Audi dealers, by 880 ESPN and the ESPN New York app, by Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, because where you're treated first matters, and by the State Farm agent of the game, Flora Cawley of Glendale, New York. Contact Flora at floracawley.com. Vote Francisco Lindor for the 2024 Roberto Clemente Award, presented by Capital One, recognizing players who best represent the game through positive contributions on and off the field. Vote at MLB.com/Clemente Award. Your stats with Lowe's, it hasn't been pretty. Mets and Brewers this year. Brewers have run the Mets to death. In fact, going back a couple of years, the Brewers have won 13 of their last 14 for the Mets. The Mets will try and scarf one in a huge spot on the final Sunday of the regular season. Mets and Brewers, first pitch coming right up. Well, it was here in Milwaukee in 2022 that the Mets clinched their last postseason berth. Max Scherzer, coming off injury, was perfect that day. Pete Alonso celebrating his first trip to the postseason. Buck Showalter named Manager of the Year after 2022, leading his team to 101 wins. And even the owner got into the act. Look at Eduardo Escobar right there in the middle. He had the big September that year for the Mets. This was a moment ago. You see the Mets are all wearing the eye black in pretty similar fashion.
Symbolic.
It's the Mets version of Braveheart.
On the Mets starting lineup, Francisco Lindor, who DH'd last night, back at shortstop tonight. J.D. Martinez, in the midst of one of the worst slumps any Met has ever had, is in there, going back-to-back with starting Marte in the 6 and 7 holes as the Mets roll out as much of a veteran presence as they can against the right-hander Colin Ray.
We're going to try to point out a lot of the positives that the Mets have today. Colin Ray's had a really good year, but he's having a terrible September. 16 innings pitched in this month. He's allowed 15 earned runs.
And your Toyota defense, the Brewer defense, Haas behind the plate, Adames at shortstop, Bowers at first base. So you're not going with Hoskins and you're not going with Contreras in the starting lineup. And Collins, Perkins, and Churio moves to right field, the rookie.
Well, Francisco Alvarez did not start yesterday after hurting his back on Friday night. He did come off the bench, though, pinch hit and caught the last inning, so he's good to go and in the starting lineup today.
I was just saying I find it interesting that Carlos Mendoza has his jersey on today. Usually he has a coat on, but change it up. I like it.
And he's in his battle gear.
Did you know he was number 64?
I had no idea.
When he did his pregame radio interview with Keith Rad today, usually Keith stands on one side and Carlos stands on the other. Carlos switched sides with Keith today, just trying to switch the mojo.
Keith probably had a problem with that because he does have a good side.
Keith has two good sides. He's on radio.
Oh, that's right.
David Peterson getting ready for an enormous start today. The math is simple. Mets just need to win. They win 2 more games, they're in the postseason, or if they win and Arizona loses a game, they're in as well. Francisco Lindor 2 for 8 in this series. Colin Ray ready to go. And has a pitch comm issue before he can throw the first pitch.
Jeez.
You know, they scheduled the last Sunday of the season for every team in Major League Baseball to start at the same time. Now they can't.
We're going to be the last game. Colin Ray, when you watch him pitch, I was talking about the tremendous year he's had. He's a guy that can retire you on very little pitches. Got a good sinking fastball cutter and a sweeping breaking ball.
Mets have never had much luck against Ray. 3 career starts, a 1.40 ERA. He pitched the 3rd game of the series at Citi Field to start the season and went 5 effective innings in that one. He's been called for a pitch clock violation before he throws his first pitch of the game. So maybe that's a good sign.
That's all we're doing, is looking for good signs.
Lindor in 15 career games in this ballpark has an OPS over 1,000. And now Ray, pitch comm in place, ready to throw his first pitch, a 1-0 pitch. And Lindor takes it for a strike, and now we're really underway. We'll keep you up to date on what's going on with the Diamondbacks and the Braves. Diamondbacks and Padres just underway in Phoenix. Braves a few minutes from starting at home against Kansas City. And the fastball away from Ray, 2 balls and a strike.
This is one of the good decisions that Major League Baseball decided upon a while ago now, where every team the last day of the season starts at the same time. I think it's a wonderful idea.
And Lindor takes just off the plate. 3 balls and a strike.
Gary, was it after the 2011 season that they made the change because so many great games happened at so many different times?
Well, that's really counterintuitive, isn't it? There's ball 4 and Lindor's on with a walk. The reason why that last night in 2011 was so spectacular was because things happened at different times. Right. Well, so they decided that everybody should play at the same time, so that can never happen again. Mets have a leadoff base runner. And now Jose Iglesias, who set a career high last night, hitting in a 19th consecutive game, hitting .417 over the 19 games. And Lindor takes off first pitch. The throw to second by Haas is too late. So Lindor aggressive on the first pitch to Iglesias, steals his 28th base of the year, and the Mets have a runner in scoring position.
Well, I think this is what the Mets are going to do. They're going to go full throttle here in this last ball game.
That is the first stolen base attempt for the Mets against the Brewers this year. The Brewers, on the other hand, are 17 for 17 against the Mets. 1-0 to Iglesias. So maybe Lindor has a shot at 30-30 after all. It's his 28th steal, but good to see that he felt well enough to take off.
I just love the aggressive start. Go take this ball game.
Ray has been susceptible to the steal. He's now given up 14 in 16 tries this year. And he misses inside and falls behind Iglesias 3-0. This is kind of the way it's been going for Ray. September has been awful. 8.44 ERA this month. Got dropped to the bullpen for his last outing. And there's a strike 3-1 to Iglesias.
He's never been close to these types of innings. 162 innings pitched coming into this start, so maybe weary from the long year.
He had a great season until he started to fade in September. He's second on the Brewers in innings pitched this year. A stalwart on their staff. There's a ground ball hit to the left side, so Iglesias unable to advance the runner, and Adames just barely nips Iglesias at first base for the first out.
Did he take his time and lollygag there? You know, Iglesias hustles down that line. That was a close play, and it shouldn't have been.
You know, again, though, the Mets had runner at second base in the series a few times. They have not been able to kind of have those situational ABs where he can get a run without getting a hit.
Last night they had Alonso at second with nobody out in the second, couldn't move him. They had Marte, a leadoff double in the fifth, got him to third but couldn't get him in.
And usually Iglesias is good at handling the bat. I'm surprised he did not advance the runner.
Brandon Nimmo 1 for 9 in this series, and he whacks one into center field for a base hit. Lindor to third. He's going to be waved around. The throw by Perkins hits the mound, and Lindor scores, and the Mets have the lead. Brandon Nimmo drives in the first run of the day. Aggressive base coaching by Mike Sarbaugh. The throw by Perkins hit the mound, and Lindor was able to score, and the Mets have a 1-0 lead.
First pitch, little slider, not much of a slider. Tried to backdoor him. Brandon getting the big hit. We talked about it in the open. Someone's got to lift, get the big hit for this club. Strong throw home. If it doesn't hit the mound, that's a close play in the plate.
Lindor scores his 104th run. Nimmo has his 88th RBI, tying him with Alonso for the club lead. Now Mark Vientos swings and misses at a slider, 0-1.
Well, good read by Lindor. A little bit of a hesitation.
And watch him. He crawls all the way. You know. I was just watching this, Keith. Great slide. And he couldn't get up there for a second. He just crawled to Vientos, who gave him his arm and helped him up.
Well, this is the thing that Francisco has said about this back issue that he's dealing with. It's okay when the pain comes momentarily and goes away. He expects that. It's when the pain lingers that he has concern and that it's harder to play. 1-1 to Vientos. And he lines one and caught by Adames. Oh, man. Willie Adames with a beautiful backhand grab of that scorching line drive right at the edge of the shadow for the second out.
Well, this was a bullet. Left of your screen. His reaction. Oh, that's just a fine play.
Well, the last two hitters have hit the ball very hard against Colin Ray. Nimmo's base hit, and now the Vientos line out. 2 out. Here's Pete Alonso.
Well, here's Lindor, Ron, as you most crawling there on all fours to get a helping hand up.
Alonso 1 for 7 in this series. Nimmo at first with 2 down, a run in. And Pete takes fastball for a strike, 1-1. Well, Lindor was able to steal second. He was able to score from second on a base hit. It's clearly not 100%, but he's able to do the things the Mets have needed him to do offensively. Defensively, he struggled on Friday night in his return. DH yesterday, and we'll see how he fares in the field today. One and one to Alonso with J.D. Martinez due up next. And Pete takes a slider down, 2 balls and a strike. Colin Ray, now 34 years old, spent a couple of years in Japan in 21 and 22 before coming back to the States last year. And he has been a big piece for the Brewers this year, although struggling lately. Last time out went 4 innings against Arizona, gave up 3 runs.
Well, you know, they traded Corbin Burns. They lost Brandon Woodruff. They lost some of their best pitching. Wade Miley got hurt. It's almost like the land of the misfit toys with the pitchers that they have, and they've all excelled.
Tobias Myers, we saw him yesterday as the bulk starter. He's had a great year. Nimmo runs. Alonso swings and misses. Haas's throw is not in time. So the Mets with their second stolen base of the opening inning. 15 on the year for Nimmo without being caught a single time.
Well, they're going to put the pedal to the metal here, and they've made their choices here before this game that they're going to make it happen. And I agree. Be aggressive. Don't sit back on your heels.
So a runner in scoring position for Alonso, a 2-2 count. Terang keeping Nimmo close at second base. He takes a slider well out of the strike zone, 3-2.
They've been featuring that pitch against Pete this entire series. That breaking ball off the plate, Pete has not been able to lay off. He did there, 2-2.
Nimmo just tied Alonso for the club lead with 88 runs batted in. Pete trying to leapfrog back in front and get Nimmo home from second base. Three-2 coming. And that's away, ball 4. And so the second walk of the inning by Ray gives the Mets 2 aboard with 2 out for Martinez.
Well, this would be a wonderful time for JD to break out.
Carlos Mendoza said before the game, this is the reason why we got a guy like J.D. Martinez for games like this. And yes, he's 0 for his last 35, but he did have some decent at bats in the opening game of the series, and he's going to get a crack at it.
I'm just looking at this inning, right? A compromised Lindor. He gets on with a walk and steals a base. You're looking for someone to get a hit who hasn't gotten a hit. Nimmo gets an RBI hit. Alonso walks to get on base, keep the line moving. Now it's JD's turn.
Question mark as to how long the Brewers are going to go with Colin Ray today. Whether they're going to use him just as a tune-up and put him on the wild card roster, or let him go longer, not put him on the wild card roster and save him for the division series. So it's a lot in play for the Brewers today as they try and figure stuff out. They used most of their better relievers last night. Everybody except Trevor McGill, who worked Friday night. All those guys who worked yesterday are definitely out of the picture for today. As for Carlos Mendoza, he'll use anybody he has to. 2 on and 2 out. Here's Martinez. And JD takes fastball on the outer edge. That's a generous strike call by Lance Barrett, the home plate umpire. Nimmo at second, Alonso at first with 2 down. And JD takes that one a little bit wide. The ball on a strike.
A lot of pitches from Ray. He is not zoning in.
Martinez trying to avoid a dubious Mets record. Longest 0 for a Mets position player in their history is 0 for 37 by Ray Ordonez.
Right. It's the second time he's disengaged.
Well, I don't think Nimmo's going to steal third. 1-1 to Martinez, and that's outside. So he's hooking that fastball, and it's 2-1.
I think what Keith was talking about is that Ray's not sure what he wants to throw.
He's just
confused.
Yeah, and he just doesn't feel. He's had a tough September, and he is not comfortable out there.
This is the first time Martinez has ever faced Ray in a regular season game. And he got a good swing at that fastball and fouled it back 2-2.
And you saw the grimace a facial expression, folks, out of J.D. Martinez right there. That was a pitch to hit, and he fouled it back.
Diamondbacks got 2 hits in the first inning, but did not score against Martin Perez. Second inning in Arizona, no score. Diamondbacks were shut out last night. Fly ball center field. Perkins giving ground. They'll have room at the edge of the warning track, and that retires the side. Mets get 1 run though on the Nimmo hit. David Peterson takes the mound when we come back. It has not been a family-friendly field for the Mets. They have lost 20 of their last 23 games here. However, one of the wins along that stretch was the clincher of a postseason berth in 2022. Mets didn't celebrate that day because they thought they were going to win the division, but that didn't go so well. Hyundai starting lineup for the Brewers. No William Contreras, no Rhys Hoskins. That's 2 big bats. And it may be a short day for Willie Adames in what might be his last regular season game for the Brewers.
I mean, Rhys Hoskins is 7 for 16 with 2 homers. Nice when he's not in the lineup.
Rice Turang was a huge pest against the Mets on Friday night. 3 for 4, 3 stolen bases. It takes first fastball for a strike from David Peterson.
And he really impressed me with his at-bats off of Mania. Very tough left-hander.
Well, the one thing that has characterized this Brewers offense this year, other than the stolen bases, is that they're an extremely patient team. They have the 29th swing rate in the league, so they swing less than all but one team, and they have the 3rd lowest chase rate. They hit a lot of ground balls. They use a lot of speed to get infield hits, and it's worked for Pat Murphy in his first year as Brewers skipper. Slapped to third. Nice play by Vientos. Now has to get up from his knees, and the low throw handled by Alonso stays on the bag. Tremendous play at both ends. Vientos with the stop and then the recovery, and Alonso with the pick, and they get Turang for the first out.
Who was it that said that Vientos could be a liability at third base? He has just been absolutely solid. Nice stretch by Pete and scoop. That is a fine play.
1 out. Here's Jackson Chourio, and the 20-year-old rookie takes a strike. 0-1. Chourio 3 for 9 in the series. Also had that great catch on Friday night against Harrison Bader when the Mets were trying to mount a comeback. Or they had the bases loaded, and Chourio went to the left field fence and made a spectacular play, and Mets got a sac fly out of it, but could have gotten a whole lot more had it not been for this kid's play. Little dribbler, tough play for Peterson. He should put it in his pocket. He makes the throw, but no chance to get Chourio, who has great speed. So it's an infield hit. Yet another for the Brewers, who have more infield hits than anybody other team.
One more look at this beautiful play here. Oh boy, he almost couldn't get he was playing on the cut of the grass, and the beautiful pick by Pete, and didn't have a chance to get the backhand in.
Yeah, it was hit so hard he had to catch it off his right leg without the backhand.
Here's Willie Adames. Adames is going to be a free agent after this season. He's having a fantastic year, but this could be his last regular season game with the Brewers. Meanwhile, in Atlanta, Michael Massey hit a 3-run homer in the top of the first off Charlie Morton, and the Royals have gone in front of the Braves 3-0. In the dirt, blocked nicely by Alvarez. 1-0.
Attention to detail by Alvarez there. Impressive.
You see the Royals score. They're still batting at the top of the first against Morton after Massey's 3-run homer.
Morton can throw up those gopher balls.
The Braves result is less important to the Mets today than the Diamondbacks result. Mets need a win and a Diamondbacks loss to clinch a postseason berth today. 2-0 to Adames. And that pitch misses high. This is where Peterson had so much success 2 starts back against the Phillies, getting strikes with high fastballs.
Mania as well. They both rode it to success. This club has laid off both Minaya and Early against Peterson.
And the 4-pitch walk to Adames puts 2 men aboard.
You got to know your customer if you're pitching. Defense first, Keith.
Oh, am I up?
Yeah, you're up.
Okay, City defense. Alvarez back behind the plate after. That's nice to see. Iglesias, Lindor. Nice to see Lindor out there. That's the starting lineup there in your veteran outfield. You've got Tyrone Taylor, who's just done a terrific job in September. A good defensive outfield.
I was just saying that sometimes you got to know your customer. This team takes the chase out of play, so you got to let them put the ball in play on the ground.
Here's Jake Bauers getting his first start in the series. Came off the bench last night, went 1 for 2, and he takes a strike. He doesn't get a lot of playing time against left-handers, generally used as a platoon player. Bauers, who played extensively for the Yankees last year, it's a nice season for Milwaukee in a part-time role. 12 home runs. Takes a strike, and it's 0-2. Well, the Padres have scored first in Phoenix, so that is good news for the Mets. They got a run off Brandon Pfaadt in the second to lead 1-0.
Pfaadt's had a tough second half.
Yes.
The young right-hander.
Mets roughed him up in Phoenix.
Elias Diaz drove in the run for San Diego. And that
boy.
fastball just missed outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, he called that pitch a strike twice, and then he didn't give it to him there. Peterson thought he had strike 3.
Chourio at second, Adames at first with 1 out. And Bauers grounds one down to first. Alonso goes to second, gets the out there, and Lindor will hang on to it. So they get the 3-6 force for the second out. Chourio goes to third, Bauers at first. So now Eric Haas, who's getting the start behind the plate today. Haas spent the first half of this year in the minor leagues. He's only making his 17th start for the Brewers, but the last time the Mets saw Eric Haas, it was last year. He was playing for the Tigers, and he had a 2-home run game against the Mets. 31-year-old, native of Detroit. And chops the first fastball foul, 0-1.
He hasn't seen a lot of at-bats here with the Brewers, but he's done fine when he's been in there.
Last year playing for the Tigers and the Guardians, he hit just 201, 286 this year in 63 at-bats. Carrying 3 catchers for a good portion of the season here, with Gary Sanchez mostly DHing. He's in the lineup today as the DH. Up and away, and it's 1-1 to Haas. Bauers at first, despite being a big guy, is a stolen base threat. He's got 13 steals on the year. Peterson, though, generally controls the running game well. Only 5 stolen bases in 7 tries against him this year, and he has 3 pickoffs using that snap throw. And the curveball misses down. 2 balls and a strike. So beating the pressure, brought to you by Coors Light, most postseason berths since 2008. And the Brewers right up there with the Dodgers, the Cardinals, and the Braves. This will be 6 times in the last 7 years now they'll be going to the postseason.
They only went 4 times in their first 49 years.
Now, there are more teams going now, but still, for a small market team, and by some measures the smallest market team, that is quite an extraordinary accomplishment. Of course, David Stearns, who's now the Mets president of baseball operations, was responsible for a lot of that success here in Milwaukee. But it has survived him. Peterson running down that pitch clock, down to the nub, and just gets it away in time and strikes out Haas to end the inning. Good backdoor slider by Peterson to put an end to the bottom of the first. Mets up 1-0. Second inning, Starling Marte leads off against Colin Ray. Marte had a double last night, one of only 2 hits for the Mets, and he drops down a bunt. Ray with the backhand play and his throw to first in time. So Mets trying to make some things happen in this game. A couple of steals in the first inning. Marte trying to bunt for a hit. 1 out.
Just didn't get down the line enough. Not even close. Nice play by Ray.
They've gone to the third inning in Phoenix. Padres 1, Diamondbacks nothing.
Diamondbacks, of course, shut out as well.
They've lost 5 of their last 6. They were shut out on 2 hits last night. But they were scoreless until the 9th. They brought in A.J. Puck, who had allowed 1 run in 27 innings as a Diamondback, and he gave up back-to-back home runs to Kyle Higashioka and Brandon Lockridge, his first big league home run.
So I don't know if this is anticipation of what might happen in the future for Colin Ray, or because he's been struggling, but he's come out here with no one on and pitching from the stretch.
Interesting. Alvarez 0 for 2 in this series. Came off the bench last night. He lines one into right center for a base hit. Over in the gap goes Churio to cut it off, and Alvarez is aboard with a 1-out single. So the Mets had their second hit of the day against Ray. It is amazing how quickly he bounced back from that back problem on Friday night. I mean, he was in agony when they scraped him off third base.
Oh, to be 22 years old.
Here's Tyrone Taylor batting 9th in the order. Tyrone has carved himself out an everyday role on this team. He started last night. Harrison Bader got the start in center, but Taylor's been in there more days than not. 0 for 5 in this series. Back in his old haunts in Milwaukee, where he played for 5 years. And he pulls one down to third. Nice backhand play. Ortiz out at second. Turang to first, not in time. Boy, the leather is being flashed today. Joey Ortiz, who's probably going to be the shortstop for the Brewers next year, makes a spectacular play here on the backhand.
Oh, that ball came up, too. Nice play. Nice stretch by Bauer there.
Ortiz acquired from the Orioles in the Corbin Burns deal, and that's turned out to be a big piece for them. So Taylor at first. Let's see if he's inclined to run. Lindor at the plate. Mets have already stolen 2 bases against Ray, who checks in on Taylor. Tyrone has stolen 10 bases in 12 tries this year. Lindor walked to lead off the game, stole second, came home on Nimmo's base hit. That's the run on the board so far. The 104th run scored for Lindor this year. That's 5th in the National League. And he takes inside 1-0. For all the MVP talk, now it's just about winning games. Because Shohei Ohtani is going to win the MVP, and he has an outside chance today of becoming the first Triple Crown winner in the National League since 1937. We figured it out. If Luis Arraez goes 0 for 4, then if Ohtani goes 3 for 4, he wins the batting title.
Wow.
So he basically needs 3 more hits than Arraez today. Of course, don't know if Arraez is going to play the full game for the Padres as they tune up for the postseason. Taken outside, it's 3-0 to Lindor with Jose Iglesias on deck.
So you have to give him the hit sign.
You know, Ohtani's hitting like 700 the last 2 weeks.
26 for 39, something like that.
Unbelievable.
Crazy.
Unbelievable.
Let's see if Lindor swings here. He takes it. It's a strike, 3-1. Taylor at first hasn't moved. 3-1 coming to Lindor. And Francisco got a good cut at that fastball and fouled it back 3-2. Make more Mets memories at Citi Field with a 2025 season ticket membership. For information, visit Mets.com/memberships. Now Taylor will be running. Bowers is going to play behind him now. 3-2 coming. And Lindor gets a breaking ball and flies it out to left. Collins in the sunshine reels it in, and that retires the side. A hit and 1 left. Middle of the second. Mets 1, Brewers nothing. Home second inning. Isaac Collins leads off. And the rookie, making his 3rd major league start, fouls off the first offering from Peterson. Isaac Collins from Maple Grove, Minnesota.
Sounds very Rockwell inspired.
Played his college baseball at Bob Gibson's alma mater, Creighton University in Omaha. Originally drafted by the Rockies and has had just 13 big league at bats. Had an infield hit in the game last night. But his at bat might have been the crucial one for Jose Quintana last night. Quintana was rolling right along. He had 2 out and 2 on. He faced Collins and he walked him. And then Joey Ortiz dumped a single into center to drive in 2, and that was basically it. Taken high, and now it's 2-2 to Collins. It's a 2-0 game until the Brewers broke it open with 4 in the 8th against the Mets bullpen. And Collins bounces one foul outside third.
Collins is a switch hitter, much better from this side of the plate. That has lots of speed.
So does everybody in this lineup.
That's right. That's right.
Blake Perkins on deck, more speed. Gary Sanchez behind him, no speed.
There are your shadows in the sunlight.
Well, in domed stadiums, the sun hits very differently because you've got the shadow of the big roof, which lies across the field. But then there are the windows behind first base that provide that dappled sunshine that you see in foul territory. In the dirt, and Alvarez stops it 3-2.
My memory of those World Series games, like when Pittsburgh was in it, and they would have the same kind of shadows right across the field for those day games.
Back at Three Rivers, you're talking about, with the Coliseum-style stadiums. On the outside corner, Peterson gets him looking. 95 on the black. Second strikeout for David. 1 down in the second. Let's check in with Steve Gelbs, whose report is brought to you by Caroline Behavioral Health. Steve?
Well, guys, you were talking about it a little bit in the first inning, just how good David Peterson is at holding runners on. It's a part of the game that he puts a lot of thought into. In fact, Jeremy Hefner said he has never seen a pitcher care just as much as Peterson does about holding runners on, that he will spend time watching video on every single base runner on the opposition to make sure he has a full understanding of what he's up against. Now, he's got a lot of different weapons to hold the base runners on, but the one thing that Hefner said maybe the most important is something that seems very simplistic, and it's just altering his head movement. That there will be times he'll look over at first base and throw to first, other times he'll look at first and throw home. Just a little something that keeps the hitters off balance, and again, off balance enough that multiple opportunities in the first, this Brewers team, who is so prolific at stealing bases, didn't even attempt.
Thank you for that report, Steve. We appreciate you pulling yourself away from the green for just a few moments.
Gary, I'm not even paying attention to what's going on.
All right, it's 9-7 Jets with 10:20 to go in the fourth quarter. Oh, see, his microphone's off. He's back to the Jets
thanks for
already.
letting me know, but this is the game. This is the game today.
He's even standing in front of that green railing just to give him a sense of being there today.
Great, Steve. They're going to cut your mic if you mention the Jets.
I didn't do it. It was Gary.
Hey, Steve was here yesterday when we were all, basking in the sunshine. Perkins takes it high, so a second straight full count for Peterson against another switch hitter who's much better right-hand hitter than left. Perkins 0 for 4 in this series. Another guy you don't want to walk because of his speed. And he misses ball 4, so there's the second walk for David. And a one-out base runner for the Brewers.
They just do not go out of the strike zone as a team. It's amazing.
I've been impressed. And really laying off that high one. They did it with Manaea, and they've done it with Peterson thus far.
So now Gary Sanchez DHing for the third straight day. He hit a home run on Friday night. 1 for 6 in the series. There's the snap throw by Peterson. And Perkins able to get back. Perkins has 23 steals this year. He's been caught 5 times. Sanchez, who spent a brief period of time as a Met last year. Was it 3 at-bats?
Yeah.
Before he moved on to San Diego, and now he's been an important piece for Milwaukee as a part-time catcher, part-time DH. And he skies one out to shallow right center. Coming on is Marte, and he just avoids the collision with Taylor, who stepped behind him. And that's the second out.
That was Marte's ball.
as you can smile about it, Ty.
He was camped.
So this problem is Taylor covers too much ground.
And Taylor, this was his team, so original team, so he wants to do above and beyond.
Here's Joey Ortiz, who had the big hit for the Brewers yesterday. And he takes fastball strike. Ortiz 1 for 7 in the series, but he had 3 RBIs in the game last night. The 2-run single and then a bases loaded walk against Reed Garrett in the 8th. Garrett had a really rough time of it. Bouncing ball on the right side. Iglesias waits on it, and that retires the side. So Peterson works around a walk in the second, keeps the Mets up 1-0 after 2. Post-game comments on Jets Post-Game Live, presented by Audi. Watch it live today immediately after the Jets game on SNY's YouTube channel. Broncos went back in front of the Jets 10-9. Here 1-0 New York as we start the third. Jose Iglesias grounded to short his first time up. And he lines one the other way, and he's got a 20-game hitting streak. Unreal.
He's a player.
He's a machine.
The first 20-game hitting streak for a Met since Wilson Ramos hit in 26 straight games for the Mets.
Just stays level on that high pitch, up and away, and he's always shooting to that opposite field. He is a classic table setter. He is a fine player.
20-game hitting streak, so nothing to sneeze at, especially in today's game where singles and doubles are so hard to come by. Ball strike to Brandon Nimmo, drove in the run in this game with a single to center field in the first. We're in the third now in Atlanta. Royals 3, Braves nothing. They're in the fourth now in Phoenix. Padres 1, Diamondbacks nothing. It's dribbled at the plate, 0-2. Of course, everybody's up in the air about whether the Mets have to go to Atlanta tomorrow to play 1 or 2 games. The commissioner's office has the discretion, if the Mets and Braves both clinch today, to say that those games don't need to be played. However, if they were to make that decision, the Padres and the Brewers would be up in arms.
Right.
And rightly so. I mean, those two teams will be hosting playoff series against whoever survives in this 3-for-2 spot wild card chase on Tuesday, and it is in their great best interest for the Mets and Braves to play those 2 games tomorrow regardless, both in terms of teams using personnel as Nimmo strikes out and also in terms of the travel that is going to be involved.
I mean, their thought is we played 162. Everyone should play 162. Yep. I get it.
And they're not wrong.
I get it.
And honestly, my belief is that the reason that the commissioner's office has not told anybody what they plan to do is because they're hoping that the situation resolves itself and they don't have to make any decision.
Yeah, that's 100%.
Mark Vientos was robbed of a hit on a great play by Adames on a liner to short his first time up, and he takes a fastball down for ball 1. So we'll see. I mean, if the Mets win and the Diamondbacks lose, the Mets are in. And then they just have to know whether they're staying here in Milwaukee or going to Atlanta. There goes the runner, swinging a grounder hit to short. Adames will have to go to first with it. And gets the out there as Iglesias advances by virtue of running on the pitch.
Of course, guys, the man that this means more to than probably anybody is Edgar Suero, the Mets traveling secretary, who's got a plan for all potential possibilities. He's got hotel rooms booked in San Diego, in Atlanta, and yes, still in Milwaukee tonight. Told me that everybody thinks we checked out of our hotel in Milwaukee, but we have not. And if the Mets have to stay here, everybody will get their same rooms that they were just in.
Alonso fouls one back. Well, there are several interesting features to all of this. One is that if the Mets don't have to go to Atlanta, then they will be the 6th seed and they'll play the Brewers, which allows them to stay here. Second one is, and this is really an oddity that you wish didn't exist, is that there's every incentive for the San Diego Padres to lose their game today to the Diamondbacks. They have nothing to gain with a win.
That's right.
And if Arizona wins, it throws the thing into chaos and forces the Mets and Braves to play the 2 games tomorrow. And you don't ever want a team to have an incentive to lose.
That's right.
It's not good for the integrity of the game. Alonso down on strikes. That's the second strikeout of the inning for Ray, and he gets around a leadoff hit to keep it 1-0. Second time around the order for David Peterson as we go to the bottom of the 3rd. Bryce Terang leads off and takes fastball for a strike. Terang robbed of a hit on a fine play by Vientos his first time up. There's been a lot of terrific defense played on both sides early in this game. And he flies one out to center. Taylor's right there waiting for it in the sunshine and into the shadow to make the catch. You have to imagine it's an awfully tough time to hit right now with the sunshine dappled around the plate the way it is and the pitcher in the shadow.
The dappled from the panes and the window panes, I don't think it has that much effect. To me, what the big effect is the ball's coming out of shadow. The main line cutting across then comes into light.
Which is very unusual because normally the way the shadows fall, the pitcher throws from sunlight into shadow,
right?
Not vice versa.
And I would rather have what it is here, the ball coming into from shadow to sunlight, than vice versa.
Can't be easy on Taylor and Nimmo on left either. Look at that. Tic-tac-toe.
1-1 to Churio, grounds one to short, backhand play by Lindor,
nice.
And the throw on target, 2 away.
Nice.
Meanwhile, in Atlanta, Gio Urshela has just homered for the Braves. It's now Kansas City 3 and Atlanta 1, still batting in the bottom of the 3rd.
Braves do a nice job when they acquire veteran help when they have injuries. They always seem to get optimum performance. Urshela, great defensive player.
And of course, their most veteran position player, Travis d'Arnaud, had the big hit last night, a walk-off homer at the bottom of the 9th. Curveball in for a strike to Willy Adames. Adames walked his first time up. 1 of 2 walks for Peterson. He's looking for his first 1-2-3 inning of the day. And that curveball drops in for a strike and quickly 0-2. Peterson has thrown more strikes in this inning. He can do that against a Brewers team that just doesn't chase. And that one, did he swing? He did not. Alvarez wisely chased it to the backstop just in case they got the swinging strike call.
Well, you can see the shadow behind that Nimmo's casting there, so the sun is off to his left.
He's got the sunglasses on the hat, which means he obviously doesn't think it's much of an issue. 1-2 coming, and Adames hits a dribbler back to Peterson, and David handles that to retire the side. 1-2-3 for Peterson in the 3rd. On to the 4th we go with the Mets up 1-0. 4th inning, 1-0 New York. J.D. Martinez leads off against Colin Ray. And Martinez fouls back a first pitch cutter, 0-1. J.D. flied one to deep center field his first time up. 0 for his last 36. Martinez, Marte, and Alvarez for the Mets in the 4th. And J.D. goes after a sinker. 0-2.
He's got the good sinker going on. It's a hard sinker.
Oh, 2 coming. And that's away. Ball and 2 strikes. Marte next. Alvarez behind him. That's got their run in the 1st inning on a Nimmo RBI single. And that skips to the backstop. 2-2. Mets owner Steve Cohen is here. He was here Friday. He flew back home to New York to attend his 50th high school reunion in Great Neck last night. And he's back here, hoping for a potential clincher. And J.D. lays off the slider, and it's 3-2. Steve was here 2 years ago when the Mets clinched a postseason berth and was in the locker room celebration.
He's hoping he has to use a poncho at some point today.
Ground ball behind third and hits the bag and goes down the line, and J.D. has broken his offer. He's going to dig for second. The throw coming in, not in time. J.D. Martinez, with help from the third base bag, snaps that insidious 0 for 36, and he's got himself a leadoff double in the fourth.
Third base bag is friendly for the Mets this month.
Wow. You're not kidding.
You had the throw off the bag against the Phillies, and now you've got the double off the bag for J.D. Martinez.
Well, let's see if the Mets can capitalize. In a game of this importance, you've got to advance the runner here. Minimum.
Starting Marte tried to bunt for a hit his first time up and was thrown out by Ray.
You've got to do the little things here in games of this importance.
He were to push a bunt to the right side, he might beat Bowers to first base. And he thinks about it and takes inside, the ball and a strike. Well, this was the throw by Alvarez on the steal by Bryson Stott that could have tied the game had it gone down the line, but right off the bag.
I've never seen that.
The shades of that Paul Newman movie, Someone Up There Likes Me.
And Marte drops down the bunt. It's a beauty. Ray throws to first just in time. So it's a sacrifice for Marte. A fine play by Ray just to get the out. And now Martinez at third with one away.
Nice play by Ray. And look at the veteran Marte putting the bunt down.
Pat Murphy, the manager from the Brewers, what are they doing? They're trying to beat us at our own game.
Now the Brewers will bring the infield in. With Martinez at third and one out. Francisco Alvarez had a base hit to right center his first time up. 1-0 New York, fourth inning. And Alvarez lays off ball one. The Diamondbacks just tied up the Padres 1-1. They're in the bottom of the fourth in Phoenix. Mets looking to expand their lead in Milwaukee. And the curveball drilled to left field. That's down for a base hit. Martinez will walk on in. Francisco Alvarez with his second hit of the day drives in a run, and it's 2-0 New York.
Got himself a hanging slider. Well, that's a chant we haven't heard in a while. The Met fans, hanging breaking ball, bullet to left field.
So Alvarez is 2 for 2. He's at first with one out for Tyrone Taylor, and he takes curveball for a strike, 0-1. Taylor hit into a fielder's choice on a brilliant play by Ortiz at third. Another breaking ball, and that's lined into left field for a base hit. Alvarez to second. He'll take a turn and stop there as Collins gets it in quickly. Third hit of the inning for New York. And they've all been well struck. Another breaking ball in the middle of the plate, and Taylor took advantage.
Well, I tell you what, Ray better cash in that slider right now. He's been burned twice. 2 hangers.
You know, he threw such a good sinking fastball to J.D. Martinez. Hasn't thrown that pitch since. That's a real weapon. Not the slider today.
That's now with 6 hits against Ray, and they'll start their third time around the batting order with Francisco Lindor, who walked, stole a base, and scored a run in the first. Flied out in the second. 2 on, 1 out. And that runs inside, ball one. Well, 2 nights after the Mets feared that they were going to lose Alvarez for an extended period, he's having himself a big day. Hugs for Antoine Richardson. And Lindor gets tied up. It caught the inside corner, a ball and a strike. And now the Diamondbacks have gone in front of the Padres. Eugenio Suarez with the go-ahead hit. Diamondbacks 2, Padres 1 in the bottom of the fourth.
What a second half Suarez has had.
Diamondbacks, like the Mets, were shut out last night, but like the Mets, they've come back today to take a lead. Change up off the plate. 2 balls and a strike to Lindor. Alvarez and Taylor, the base runners. J.D. Martinez has to feel like a big albatross has been ejected.
That's lined into right field, a base hit for Lindor. Alvarez digging for third. He's being waved home. Churio unleashes the throw. It's cut off. On to third goes Taylor. Francisco Lindor drives in a run. It's 3-0 New York. And the Mets have come to hit today.
Down and in where he likes it. Wanted the ball away. It was middle of the plate. And we mentioned at the top of before the game that Mets had to get the big hits, and they are doing it. There's just no doubt no one's going to catch that ball. It's an easy score. And the back runner advancing to third. Critical.
Now the Mets haven't had this kind of an inning in a while. They've needed it badly. Stringing hits together, something they've done so effectively this year. 4 hits in the inning, producing 2 runs and a chance for more. With Jose Iglesias coming up, Chris Hook, the Brewers pitching coach, was just out at the mound to talk to Colin Ray. No action in the Brewers bullpen, so they're going to let Ray ride now. Iglesias had a base hit to right field in the third. That extended his hitting streak to 20 games. First and third and 1 out.
Another big run out there to pick up at third base.
Lindor at first, already has a steal today, and he takes off first pitch. The throw to second by Haas, not in time. 29 stolen bases for Lindor, his second of the day. 1 shy now of another 30-30 season. Well, it's just great to see that he is able to put the pedal to the metal like this with his back woes. Now the Brewers have to bring the infield in with second and third and 1 out. And Iglesias takes a fastball strike, and it's 0-2.
Again, and just pitchers not paying attention to the base runners. See it all the time.
Diamondbacks added another run on a Jake McCarthy hit. 3-1 Arizona in the 4th. Taylor at third, Lindor at second. 0-2 to Iglesias. And he foul tipped it, held by Haas, strike 3. Third strikeout for Ray, and that's the second out of the inning. And now it is 6-1 Arizona. So the Diamondbacks with a huge inning against Martin Perez. Ketel Marte with a 3-run homer to double up their score. Here's Nimmo with 2 in scoring position and 2 out. He drove in the first Met run, and he swings and misses at a slider, 0-1. In order for the Mets to clinch today, they would need the Diamondbacks to lose. If Arizona wins, even if the Mets win today, they're going to have to go to Atlanta and do some more work. Nimmo got jammed and pops one foul, backing out of play. 0-2. Third time this year, Francisco Lindor has had 2 steals in a game. More importantly, though, the Mets, who had not had a hit with a runner in scoring position since last Sunday, have gone 3 for 7 with runners in scoring position today. Nimmo trying to pick up a couple of big runs with 2 outs. And a good block by Haas. It trickled behind him, and Taylor thought about trying it, but he wisely went back.
The Mets are definitely on point. They've come to play today.
Change up in the dirt, gets through the 5-hole, kicked to his left, left of Haas.
On the left of your screen, look at Taylor. He had ideas.
And Lindor behind him as well. He was halfway to third. 1-2 coming, and Nimmo hits a ground ball right at Terang, and he throws him out to end the inning. So the Mets get 2 runs in the 4th, and they hand David Peterson a 3-0 lead.
All right, your live same game parlay presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. If you think the Mets are going to win and over 7.5 total runs will be scored, the odds right now are -105. When you're up with Fanatics Sportsbook, win or lose, you get up to 10% fan cash back on your bet. Download the app today.
That's with a 3-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the fourth. Right now, the Mets are leading. The Diamondbacks are leading, and the Braves are trailing. Hunter Renfroe hit a home run for Kansas City. They're up 4-1 in the fourth. Jake Bauers hit into a fielder's choice his first time up, and he takes a slider for a strike, 0-1. If all three teams win tomorrow, fly ball hit to center field, and Taylor easing toward left center, right to the edge of the warning track to grab it 1 out. Then the Mets would have to win 1 tomorrow to clinch. And interestingly enough, the Braves would have to win 1 tomorrow to clinch.
Right. What's the other scenario,
So
Ron?
a split, they're both in.
Right.
But if either the Braves or the Mets are swept, then the Diamondbacks are in.
Right. So that, you know, again, you hate to provide perverse incentives, right?
That's right. I mean,
if the Mets and Braves were to say, oh, okay, we win 1, we win 1. I mean, that won't happen, but you hate to have that perception out there because it's just terrible for the sport. All of which could have been avoided with a little better planning this past week. 0-2 to Eric Haas, who struck out his first time up. And takes that breaking ball in the dirt, 1-2.
well, I'm going to make a temporary reservation at Waffle House for all of us, Keith. Just
The Waffle House.
Just temp.
Wait a
I'm
second.
not tempting fate. Not tempting fate.
I'd just like to say something as Haas strikes out. I have been to the Waffle House quite a number of times in my time.
Especially when you're in the South, right? Doing your games.
I have never, ever heard of anybody having a reservation there.
Oh, they have a private line. Yeah. You got if you have the private number,
you're privileged.
Yeah, you can get in, and instead of having to sit at the counter, we can get our own table.
A booth?
Yes.
Wow. Smothered or covered?
Oh, smothered.
Lots of syrup, maple syrup.
Pork chops with the eggs.
Meanwhile, David Peterson has retired 7 in a row as he faces Isaac Collins. Collins took a call third strike his first time up. Now the Diamondbacks wound up scoring 6 runs in that fourth inning. They go to the fifth up 6-1. That's line to left field coming on his nipple, and he makes the grab to retire the side. So Peterson's now retired 8 straight. Mets have a 3-0 lead after 4. Hey.
Oh, nice.
That's Iggy's cousin.
That's a Chihuahua. Came across from the southern border.
Mark Vientos leads off in the 5th inning. Vientos has hit 2 balls to shortstop. One a bullet that was caught by Adames. The other a slow roller that advanced a runner. Vientos has had himself a memorable season. First full year in the big leagues, just over 400 at bats, 27 home runs, .521 slugging percentage coming into the day, the best on the team. I mean, think about that. Think about the year that Lindor has had with 71 extra base hits, and Vientos has a better slugging percentage than Lindor by 30 points.
Vientos has put himself on the short list of Mets rookies, everyday players, as far as their rookie year, how good it's been.
I mean, not technically his rookie year, but full year.
First full year.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Otherwise, it'd be a shoe-in for Rookie of the Year. 2-2 coming. And a ground ball toward the middle. That's going to go through for a base hit.
Nice hitting.
So Vientos with his 2nd hit in this series, a leadoff single in the 5th. Well, the fact that Ray is still out there, if you look at the Vientos base hit, tells you that they're probably not going to put him on the wild card roster.
Exactly. Partly because of how he's pitched in September. So they're just going to have him out there and see how many outs he can get for them and go deep, and then they'll let him regroup.
And then the division series starts Saturday.
Yes.
So he'll be all ready for that. Pete Alonso has walked and struck out in this game 0 for 1. Braves just got a run in the bottom of the 4th. Royals 4, Braves 2. Santos doesn't draw a lot of throws at first base.
He hasn't stolen a base, right?
Has not attempted one.
No, and he's why is he that he hasn't?
What do you mean?
To swing, we needed him to swing the bat, keep him healthy.
Oh, I thought you were advocating for him to run.
No, definitely not.
Oh, and Alonso is drilled, and so the Mets have the first 2 men on in the 5th.
A chance to blow this game wide open.
So Alonso takes over the club leadership in getting plunked, 13th time this year, 91st for the Mets, the most of any team in the National League. Again. So now 2 aboard, nobody out for J.D. Martinez, who snapped that 0 for 36 with a double off the third base bag to ignite the Mets in the 4th.
Let's see if he can add on here.
I'm wondering if J.D. will look in on one pitch, because he tried to come in with that sinker in the last at bat, and it was a good pitch.
I don't think he's going to go back in there on purpose. I think he's going to stay away, which is to JD's strength.
That skips away from Haas, and that'll move the runners up to 2nd and 3rd. So a wild pitch from Ray, and now the Mets have 2 in scoring position with nobody out.
Nothing Ray could do here. You see, there's no movement, no lateral movement when these catchers are on their one knee. And I know a lot of people that are down there on their computers just hate to hear me say that, but I'm sorry. You can't sell it to me.
Infield most of the way in. Adames about halfway at short against Martinez. And it's fouled off, and it's 1 and 2. JD's last hit had come 20 days ago, on September the 9th in Toronto. Happy to have that out of the way. Now an RBI chance. 2 balls, 2 strikes. JD hitting .301 this year with runners in scoring position, even with all of his recent woes. And he gets tied up inside, and Ray has a strikeout for the first out of the inning.
He went in after him there, Ron, with 2 strikes.
He has not used that pitch enough. That's his best pitch today, because he has a little run on it, so it starts in the middle and runs in on the hands. Had something on it too.
Tied him up.
4th strikeout for Ray, 1 out of the inning. And now starting Marte is going to be intentionally walked ahead of Francisco Alvarez.
Well, Alvarez, it's a ball on the ground is more of a double play. So you got to play the percentages here.
But he's had 2 good at bats today.
Yep. So Francisco could be the star here. Could be the guy to get the big hit.
Single to right center in the 2nd, single to left to drive and a run in the 4th. Bases loaded, 1 out. And Alvarez drills one down the left field line, just foul. He barely missed a bases clearing double. Just hooked away at the last moment.
He's swinging a good bat. Aggressive. Well, he's always aggressive.
Yes, he is. I mean, Friday night it was impressive that he drew 2 walks and probably should have drawn a 3rd. But swing mode is his default. Vientos at 3rd, Alonso at 2nd, Marte at 1st with 1 out. Change up in the dirt. It's 1-1.
Yeah, Ray's changeup, he has just had, as a hitter, you can eliminate it. He hasn't thrown it for a strike. It's been in the dirt bad.
Bowers is in at 1st. Everybody else is back looking for the double play. 1-1 to Alvarez. And Francisco fouls that one off. 1-2. Mets have scored 3, but they've left 6 runners on in the first 4 innings. Trying to avoid adding to that total here in the 5th. Ray ahead on Alvarez 1-2 with Tyrone Taylor on deck. And that is a disengagement. It's close to a pitch clock violation that he not stepped off. Ray's had a lot of traffic to contend with today. 1-2 coming. And that's away. 2-2. Francisco Alvarez, 1 career grand slam. It came last year. 2-2. That's outside. Now a full count. So he tried to keep the ball away from Alvarez with a couple of fastballs, and Francisco not biting. And now it's 3-2 with the bases loaded and 1 out. And Alvarez gets a breaking ball and flies it out to left. That'll get a run in at least. Collins back near the fence to make the catch. Tagging the third is Vientos. He'll come in on the sacrifice fly by Alvarez, who didn't miss a grand slam by much, but he gives the Mets a 4-0 lead.
Just got it towards the end a little bit too quick on this hanging breaking ball.
So Alvarez with his 2nd RBI of the day. And the Mets stretch the lead to 4-0. And now Tyrone Taylor bats with 2 out and 2 on. Taylor had a base hit to left field his last time up. And he fouls off the first pitch fastball, 0-1. So they're really asking a lot out of Colin Ray today. He had not made a start in 9 days. And the last time he started, he threw 67 pitches. He's up to 90 today. Nobody throwing in that Milwaukee bullpen. Alonso at 2nd, Marte at 1st. And Taylor flies 1 out to left. Coming in and toward the line is Collins. And he gets there to make the catch, and that retires the side. Mets tack on a run on the sac fly and lead 4-0 halfway through. Home 5th inning. David Peterson's retired the last 8. He's now got a 4-0 lead. Blake Perkins takes a curveball out of the strike zone for ball 1. Perkins was the last man to reach against Peterson. He walked with 1 out in the 2nd. Peterson got out of 1st inning trouble, and he's been fairly cruising since then. Against this less than full Milwaukee lineup. No William Contreras, no Rhys Hoskins, no Sal Frelick, who bruised his hip on Friday night. And they're unsure of his status for the postseason. They say there's no structural damage, no break, no cartilage tear, no dislocation, but a pretty nasty bruise.
There should be some structural damage on that thing down the right field line this winter. Redo that
Fence,
part of the fence.
Yeah, that fence that is in the middle of the padding where he hit the wall. 3-2. The Diamondbacks just added a run on a Jake McCarthy RBI double. 7-1 Arizona in the 5th. So it's looking more and more like the Mets are going to be headed to Atlanta after the game today. Swing and a miss, and Perkins down on strikes. So Peterson comes back from 3-1 to get Perkins for his 4th strikeout. There's the injury on Friday.
Yeah, he banged into there.
So unfortunate. I think it's the left hip and kind of back area.
Well, look at that. They are doing some something there. It would appear as though the goal is to add padding there and take away the mesh.
So it's like the Aaron Rowan situation in Philadelphia.
Exactly.
Right?
Well, there they were planning to add the padding.
That's true.
Shortly after, I think it was after that homestand they were planning to add the padding, but it was too late for Rowan, who broke his face on the outfield fence. What a catch, though.
Unbelievable catch. Bases loaded, right? Was it Xavier Nady?
Yeah,
I think who hit the ball.
And it was a 1-0 game that I think ended up being range shortened.
Gavin Floyd got the shutout and complete game, I believe.
Gary Sanchez flied out to right his first time up. Peterson rolling, having retired 9 in a row now. That Brewers bullpen is still quiet. Colin Ray at 91 pitches looks like he's going to come out for more. And a half swing on the changeup, and he said he swung. 3-2.
Last day of the season. Maybe not for the Mets.
That's right.
We used to always assume that on game 162, every half swing was a strike.
It was more than a few umpires that would tell you, swing the bats.
And there's ball 4. So the third walk given up by Peterson. A 1-out base runner for the Brewers. Your trivia question presented by Duncan. Head to sny.tv/vote and click on game day to cast your vote now. Who was the first player in Mets franchise history with 100 RBIs in a season? Ooh, Mr. Carter, I know.
You know it?
Ooh.
Mr. Cartier.
It was Joey Ortiz who grounded out to second base his first time up. And call strike, 0-1.
Juan can't come to school today. Signed Epstein's mom.
Ground ball. Peterson losing his 6-6 gets the out at second, and Lindor turns it over for the 1-6-3 double play. Neatly done.
Helps to be 6'6". After 5, Mets 4, Brewers nothing. 6th inning, 4-0 New York. Colin Ray is going to negotiate a 4th time through the Mets batting order. Just now, action starting to stir in the Milwaukee bullpen. Francisco Lindor, a single and a walk, 2 stolen bases, and RBI today. And he grounds one down to first, a foul ball. 0-1. So Lindor, who looked like 30-30 was beyond his reach, all of a sudden is 1 stolen base away. Hobie Milner, first man up in that Brewers bullpen, with Nimmo 2 batters away.
Best sign for me with Lindor is that he's swinging the bat today. You know, he took a lot of pitches in his first game back.
Of course, there are a lot of stolen base related numbers that are falling this year because of the new rules instituted last year. But Bobby Witt recently became the first shortstop in history to have back-to-back 30 years.
Lindor cranks one to deep right field. Churrio back near the wall. It's out of here. Francisco Lindor clobbers a home run, his 32nd of the year, to make it 5-0 New York.
It looks pretty healthy. The Met fans chanting MVP. And it looks like the Mets MVP is back for real. 2 hits, 2 RBIs, 2 stolen bases, a home run. Big day for Lindor, big day for the Mets when they needed it the most. And now Iglesias is 1 for 3 today. Anyway, Wood was the first shortstop to ever have back-to-back 30 years, and Lindor now 1 steal away from doing the same. Didn't get a chance to steal this time around the bases.
He'll take that.
He'll take it, yeah. So he's now 32-29. See what Jose Ramirez has a chance to do?
Yeah, I did.
Fly ball hit along the left field line. A long one for Collins, who was over in the gap, but he'll get there with his speed and makes the catch.
High pitch. Letter high, and boy, did he square it up.
That's second home run in this series. Vientos hit one on Friday night. Anyway, Jose Ramirez has a chance to be only the 2nd player in history to reach 40 home runs, 40 steals, and 40 doubles. The only guy who's ever done it is Alfonso Soriano. And Ramirez, I believe, is just one steal away or one home run away.
One home run away. He hit number 39 yesterday.
Nimmo drove in the first Met run with a base hit to center field. 1 for 3 on the day. Guardians right now are being delayed by rain in their regular season finale. A lot of rain in the Northeast. The Yankees were delayed.
Yeah, right.
Jets played in the rain most of the day and wound up losing that game to the Broncos.
It was I understand the first half the rain, Steve, if you're listening, it was downpour.
You know, it's tough. Guy coming back from an Achilles injury on a wet field. Sorry, Steve.
It's a downpour here. He's weeping over there behind the.
Where is he? Is he down there?
I think he's.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm not weeping, but I will say that it's probably best for my career that I'm here and not back in New York.
Probably should keep your microphone closed too. Just to be safe.
I'm just going to put it down, guys.
Okay. We'll just get some ambient noise for your microphone. Just like they got some ambient noise in the 9th inning last night on the Fox broadcasts.
Brian Eno or no?
No. It was a little more verbal than that. I mean, I know if that had happened on our broadcast, there would have been some, oblique message to the FCC to, try and win some favor.
We walked that line.
3-2 to Nimmo, and that's on the inside corner. He got him. So Ray's got his 5th strikeout, 2 out of the inning. Let's check in with the studio. Gary Apple has a game break brought to you by your local Honda dealers. Gary. Padres staging a bit of a comeback. Vientos hitting one off the pitcher. It rolls to the right of the mound. Ray won't get to it in time to make a play. And it's a base hit for Vientos. And let's see how Ray is.
I thought it caught his glove, but I could be wrong.
He looks undisturbed. His manager, Pat Murphy's on his way out, perhaps to make a pitching change anyway.
Well, I got him above the wrist, it looked like.
Yep. Yeah, so Ray's coming out of the game. I don't think because of injury. I think Pat Murphy was going to make the move anyway, because Ray has certainly done his work today. That's of a 5-0 lead. We'll be right back. The veteran left-hander Hobie Milner on to face Pete Alonso, and this is up and away with the fastball for ball 1.
They're trying to get Milner straight. He was a big part of their resurgence in the first half of the year, but his ERA over 6 in the last 3 months.
He had a very rough outing on Friday night as the Mets tried to come back, and the only reason he survived was that great play by Chourio up against the left field fence to rob Bader of an extra base hit. Otherwise, the Mets might have been able to come back in that game. That's pulled to short, and Damas had him played perfectly. Takes his time, and the throw right on target to end the inning. But Francisco Lindor's home run extends the Mets' lead 5-0 in the 6th. Home 6th inning. David Peterson starts his 3rd time around the Brewers batting order and gets a curveball in for a strike to Bryce Terang. Terang is grounded out and flied out 0 for 2. Jackson Chourio and Willie Adames to follow. And he slashes one foul, and it's 0-2. Peterson's been a gem today. He gave up an infield single to Chourio in the 1st inning, and that's the only hit he's allowed over 5. Peterson's gone 7 innings or more in 4 of his last 7 starts, after not having done it at all in his first 13 starts. And he comes up and in to get Terang, and that's his 5th strikeout of the day.
Up and in, when it's out of the strike zone, it's always an overmatch.
Well, the plan for Carlos Mendoza was to throw Peterson today for two reasons. One, you'd rather have right-handers against the right-hand dominated Braves lineup. And two, he wanted to give Luis Severino an extra day of rest. Sevy could have pitched today on regular rest. So tomorrow, if the Mets have meaningful games to play, they'll have Severino and McGill to start those two games. Meanwhile, the Braves held back Chris Sale the entire weekend. He was due to pitch against the Mets on Wednesday, and then he was due to pitch Friday, but they skipped him. And so they now have Sale and Spencer Schweldenbach available to pitch tomorrow. Of course, there's a scenario today where if the Braves win and the Diamondbacks win, the Mets have to go to Atlanta needing to win at least one game. But the Braves will already be in. If the Braves win today, they're in no matter what else happens.
That's right.
So if the Mets go to Atlanta tomorrow for games that are meaningful to them, but the Braves have already clinched a spot, how does Atlanta play that series? Do they save Sale and Schweldenbach for the division series?
100%.
Yep. Why not? I mean, of course.
Unless they feel as though they have some vested interest in knocking the Mets out.
Or that. Well, they'll have that anyway. Whoever starts and plays, they will certainly have that.
Postseason takes precedence.
Swing and a miss, and Chourio is down on strikes. 6 Ks now for Peterson. Well, so it would seem as though, at least on some level, it might be in the Mets' best interest for the Braves to win today.
Yeah.
So that they do not have anything to play for other than seeding tomorrow.
The only thing that would change that is if the Braves team identified one of the teams they're going to play as they'd prefer to play someone else. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they'd rather play the Brewers than the Padres or the other way around.
Well, whoever finishes in the 6th seed, which is the last wild card, gets the Brewers, and whoever finishes with the 5th seed, the second wild card, gets the Padres.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the Phillies and Dodgers will lie in wait. Dodgers have the number 1 seed, the Phillies the number 2 seed. They both can wait until Saturday to start playing in the division series. Adames fouls one at the plate, and it's 0-2. Adames has walked in at a comebacker. Peterson, after a rough go against the Phillies his last time out 9 days ago, has been just terrific today.
This is the sharpest breaking ball I've seen from Peterson. Sorry, the curveball. I know he has the hard slider. Curveball has been very effective today.
Fastball up and away to Adames, 1-2. And it feels like he's throwing his curveball more today than he normally does. We've got him at 12% on his curveball. Normally that's 7%. Ground ball. Lindor in front of it. Adames running half speed. That retires the side. Peterson keeps rolling through 6 scoreless innings on just 1 hit, and the Mets lead 5-0. 7th inning, J.D. Martinez fouls back the first offering from Hobie Milner, who got the final out in the 6th. Martinez snapped his 0-for-35 stretch with a double off the third base bag and scored in the 4th. 1 for 3 on the day, so that leaves Ray Ordonez by himself in the Mets record book. Milner misses inside with the fastball, 1-1. Colin Ray threw a season-high 106 pitches today. Over 5 2/3, gave up 5 runs, 10 hits, 3 walks, 1 intentional, 5 strikeouts, a hit batsman, a wild pitch, and a home run. Line right at the shortstop, and Adames didn't have to jump, but did anyway.
Boy, JD, you could use a hit there. Hang with them.
Amazing lives wherever you are. Don't miss a single Mets moment with the SNY app presented by Fanatics Sportsbook. Scan the code and download today. And it looks like Willy Adames is coming out of the game. They had planned to do this at some point. Adames is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. He's been such an enormous piece of this Brewers team since he came over in a trade in 2021. The heart and soul of this team, and he's going to get a big ovation as he comes off. And it's kind of the changing of the guard right here, because Joey Ortiz, who is projected to be the shortstop next year for the Brewers, moves over to play short now as Andrew Monasterio comes in to play third. And now Starling Marte takes a strike. And I don't know where Adames ends up next year, but with the numbers he's put up, he might be a little too expensive for the Brewers. And that's one of the things about being a small market team, is that you develop players who have big years, and then you have to watch them move on because you don't have the resources to keep them.
Well, they used those resources to sign Christian Yelich. That was the big sign.
And Yelich had a big first half this year and was really rolling when he finally went down with back surgery in late July, and everybody figured that the Brewers would take a big downturn. Didn't happen any more than it happened when they traded away Corbin Burns and lost Brandon Woodruff and lost Devin Williams for 4 months. Rounded out to short, and there is Ortiz immediately getting a chance at shortstop, 2 away.
They've got a wonderful culture of winning here. What'd you say, Gary? 6 out of 7 now they've gone to the postseason. 6 of the last 7 years.
Lourdes Gurriel just tripled to drive in a run. It's now the Diamondbacks' 8th, the Padres' 2 in the 6th. And there's the Brewers. 3 division titles the last 4 years. What they've had, though, is early exits in the postseason. Last year they got swept by the Diamondbacks in their first series, with the Diamondbacks surprising everybody by getting all the way to the World Series.
What makes this year so special is once Counsell signed with the Cubs, this was supposed to be a written-off year. A new manager, Pat Murphy, and they'll rebuild. They lost Corbin Burns in a trade. Brandon Woodruff hurt. On and on and on. But it's like the more things they didn't have, the better they played.
And kudos to Pat Murphy, who's really one of the front runners for Manager of the Year, along with his opponent today, Carlos Mendoza.
Well, these two teams may be meeting again starting on Tuesday in the National League Wild Card Series.
There is a passel of managers in the National League that could win National League Manager of the Year. I think Murphy's going to get it, but Mendoza, Schilt, he can go on and on.
Last year's National League Manager of the Year, Skip Schumacher, is away from his team this weekend because of a family medical problem, and before he left, he told his players that he would not be back as the Marlins skipper. So he is going to be a very interesting free agent for some team. 3-2 to Alvarez, who's 2 for 2 with a sac fly, and he dribbles that one foul.
Well, you would think that just on inspection that the Chicago White Sox would need a special manager, but they're not going to get one where the situation they're in right now.
Well, if you pay enough.
I guess.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know where Jerry Ransoff's willing to go money-wise with a skipper. Fly ball along the right field line. Long run for Chourio. And he stops and makes the catch. Almost overran it, but stayed with it to retire Alvarez and end the inning. Stretch time in Milwaukee. Mets 5, Brewers nothing. If you look through the mesh there is Steve Gelbs in there somewhere. Inside the number 2, the Polish sausage. Now, we told him he should get the inside position, but it does not appear that he is following our guidelines.
Oh, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that order, it looks like.
All right, contestants on your mark.
Don't fall. Don't fall, Steve.
They're up and racing.
No.
It's an even start. Looking for somebody to take command, and there's the chorizo pulling
He's
out
flying,
on the inside.
Keith.
With the
He's
hot
flying.
dog. And the Italian looking for racing room between sausages. The bratwurst and
get the inside.
Hot dog trailing the field. They make the turnaround plate, and down the stretch they come.
Stretch drive. Stretch drive. Go, Steve. Go.
The Italian, and at the wire it's the Polish sausage.
Oh, Gelbs! Gelbs the winner! We're never going to hear the end of this.
Oh, man. The single greatest moment of Steve Gelb's career.
I had him that he couldn't close when he was on the rail. but he did it.
From there to
he smoked him. David Peterson back to the mound for the bottom of the 7th. Jake Bauers leads off and fouls one into the ground. Peterson has been brilliant today. 6 scoreless innings, only 1 infield hit. Harrison Bader into play center field. Tyrone Taylor moves over to right. Bauers, Haas, and Collins up for the Brewers, and a slider swung and missed, and it's 0-2. And a half swing, and Bauers went around for strike 3, and that's 7 strikeouts now for David Peterson.
Boy, he has answered the bell.
He's retired 14 of the last 15 batters.
5 strikeouts in his last 9 batters.
Net starters the last 7 games have taken a little dip. 6.06 ERA in those 7 games after such a great run of success. And now it appears as though the Mets are going to have to go to Atlanta tomorrow and win at least 1 game, and the ball will be in the hands of Luis Severino and or Tyler McGill. Popped up behind first base. Alonso giving it a run. So is Taylor, and Taylor gets there to make the catch. Man, can he move?
Can move. Well, this is part of the strength of this ball club. The defense. This is one of the best defensive teams the Mets have put out there in a long time.
In the beginning of the season, the first couple of months, the Mets defense was right at the bottom of all the metrics. They were either last or next to last in defensive run saves, outs above average. Now they're up to 10th in the league in outs above average, 14th in DRS in the major leagues, and the improvement is apparent to the naked eye as well.
Yeah.
Isaac Collins lined out to left his last time up, 0 for 2 today. David Peterson trying for his 10th win of the season and has a chance to push his ERA below 3 if he can continue to throw zeros. Came into the day at 3.08.
He's there right now.
I mean, that's a spectacular year. Anytime you can get your ERA under 3. See the final numbers on Paul Skeens?
Yeah, I did.
Rookie year. 2 perfect innings against the Yankees yesterday. He finishes 11-3, 1.96.
I mean, that's historic, right, Gary? That ERA?
Lowest for any rookie making that many starts since 1918. And 170 strikeouts in 133 innings.
He's going to be a bear to deal with.
3-2 coming. And Collins takes strike 3 call. And Peterson caps off 7 scoreless innings with his 8th strikeout of the day. When the Mets needed it most, David Peterson turning in a gem today. Here's your T-Mobile coverage cam. David Peterson getting congratulations on an enormous effort today. 7 scoreless innings, 1 infield hit.
They haven't done that in a while.
Yeah,
nice.
Congratulate. I mean, just really a terrific job.
Just a pro effort.
Well done.
3 walks, 8 strikeouts, just the 1 infield hit by Jackson Chourio that came in the first inning. Now DL Hall is on to pitch for the Brewers, and his first curveball misses outside to Tyrone Taylor.
Peterson's start today is the kind of start where your teammates will forever look at you differently.
Yes.
Punch to the right side. Terang closes ground and makes the throw to get Taylor 1 away. What do you mean by that?
You know, they know he has talent. They know he has a chance to be a really good, solid starter. But when it's on the line and you got to have it, and they know it, and he knows it, and he delivers a performance like that, they look at you in a whole different light. Like he's one of the guys. He's the dude.
I couldn't agree more. And from an everyday player point of view, when you're out there and for him to pitch the big game, this was a big game. And the 1 hitter, 9 strikeouts, shutout innings.
it may be that David Peterson has arrived now. One of these games that I have arrived.
Yeah.
What's so interesting about that is there's an entire legacy in Major League Baseball of left-handed pitchers who wind up having great careers after struggling for years. I mean, certainly, you know, I'm not saying that David Peterson is one of these, but Sandy Koufax, Randy Johnson, those guys early in their careers, there was no guarantee that either one of them was going to be a good pitcher, let alone a Hall of Fame pitcher. And, you know, sometimes it takes, for whatever reason, left-handers a little bit longer.
And we were judging David with a bulky hip, you know, that it's no longer an issue. That's huge in its own.
Well, certainly the Mets appear to have themselves a gem in Peterson, who will finish the regular season with a 2.90 earned run average. Lined into center field, and Iglesias has yet another hit.
2 a day. Is it that easy, Keith? You get 2 hits
when you're
every day?
When you're red hot, they look like grapefruits coming in.
Pink or just regular?
Iglesias with a 20-game hitting streak, hitting over 400 during that span. Well, with Peterson pitching today, that probably takes him out of play for the division series if the Mets get there. Those games will be played Tuesday, Wednesday, and if necessary Thursday, but it puts him right in line to start the first game of a potential division series on Saturday. So Maton up in the bullpen with Brandon Nimmo, and he carves one foul. It's now 9-2 Arizona as they play in the bottom of the 7th. So it's looking more and more like the Mets will reduce their magic number to 1 if they win this game, and then have to win one more game tomorrow.
Avoid the sweep, both teams.
Well, Maton is seriously in the circle of trust. He got 5 outs yesterday, right?
Didn't seem to break a sweat doing it.
No.
There's your expected high-speed hitting for today.
So think about this. This doubleheader tomorrow.
Yeah.
Someone's got to win the first game. That's a lot. That's a lot on the second game for the team that lost. I mean, it's there. It's the end. It's for the cookies.
I'm hip.
Except the Braves might not have to win.
That's right.
If they can rally and win their game today, and they're down 4-2 in the 7th,
right,
then those games will not be meaningful for them except for the seeding.
Right. So I was speaking in terms, if the Braves do lose, it'll be. I mean, it is going to be right there on the line. Game 2.
But here's the other thing. No matter what happens, even if the Braves lose today, whoever wins that first game, assuming that all 3 teams, that the Diamondbacks and the Mets win today, say the Braves lose, whoever wins that first game is going to be in. So the second game will be meaningless to the team that wins the first game. Popped up into shallow center field, and Perkins is there, and that retires the side. So the incentives change moment by moment. Let's answer our Duncan trivia question. First player with 100 RBIs in Mets franchise history was Rusty.
Number 4.
105.
The Grand Orange. Mets Russ.
New battery for the Mets. Phil Maton pitching. Luis Torrens catching. Blake Perkins taking a strike. 0-1. David Peterson, 7 innings, no runs, 1 hit, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, 95 pitches, and now Maton, who threw 15 pitches to get 5 outs yesterday. This is up and away with his slider, and it's 1-1.
Well, the numbers from Maton, but since he's come over to the Mets, just so valuable. Strike thrower.
We were having a conversation between innings about Edwin Diaz, who hasn't pitched in a week. But with the prospect of 2 games tomorrow, do you need to save Diaz today, thinking you might need him in both games tomorrow?
Yes. I wouldn't want to take the chance that he goes out there and maybe has an inning where he throws 20, 25 pitches. Even though he's been spot on, the odds are it wouldn't be that way. Can't take a chance. You got to have him for both games. win the first one, then you don't have to have him in the second one.
The ball in the dirt, 2-2. Well, first they have to win this game.
I was going to say that.
Because if they don't win this game, they'll have to win 2 games tomorrow in all probability.
Yep.
They're the standings right now. Whether the Mets are 1 game behind the Braves or 2 games behind the Braves really doesn't matter. Grounded to the right side, and Iglesias fields. Maton covers and got there just in time. Nicely done on both ends. Maton getting over. Take that throw from Iglesias for the first out.
Iglesias gave him a perfect feed. Maton getting over perfectly. And that's why you practice this in spring training.
There's athleticism and leading to your pitcher to the bag with the perfect throw and the perfect timing so he can just run right through the bag.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now Gary Sanchez, who's flied out and walked 0 for 1. He takes a cutter for a strike. So, Keith, before you were talking about the pressure in a second game tomorrow if you lose the first game.
Right.
So do you go with McGill in the first game or do you go with Severino in the first game?
I think you got to win the first game. You got to go with your big
Severino,
gun, the big gun.
Yeah.
I mean, McGill's been awfully good coming down the stretch as well.
Well, you look at the numbers. The one thing that's interesting is Severino, this will be his first start since pitching against the Braves.
Right. 1-2 coming. It's foul back. I mean, Sevy struggled in that start, but there was a lot of soft contact that hurt him too.
And he made an error, if I remember right.
Right. Throwing error on Arcia's ball, and then that led to a big inning. Then he gave up a home run to Michael Harris.
I think you throw Severino in the first game with every confidence that McGill has been pitching well.
Yep.
We'll do it for you if you need it. That's the only way to go.
The game in Atlanta's gone to the 8th. It's still the Royals 4, the Braves 2. 2-2. Grounded up the third baseline. That's going to stay fair. Vientos throwing on the move, and he throws it away. And I think it stayed in play.
It did. It did.
And Sanchez has a rare infield hit.
Well, when they're playing deep, and the odds are you're not going to get, you're giving up that bleeder by playing the defense back. And I agree with playing that third baseman deep. I do like that new wrinkle in defense,
especially with Sanchez up.
The only time I don't like it, there's a stolen base threat that's on second base.
Now Joey Ortiz. There's your Honda Sports Night lineup tonight at 11. Licking wounds in the Jets locker room today. Strike to Ortiz, 1-1. By the way, Kansas City in that game in Atlanta today, they have something to play for, because if they win and Detroit loses, they get the 5 seed and avoid playing the Astros in the first round.
They'd have to play Baltimore, though, right?
Well, I think you'd rather play the Orioles right now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, if Baltimore had its pitching, I'd say no, but yes.
I mean, with Framber Valdez and Ronald Blanco and Hunter Brown to run at you in a 3-game series, I think I'd try to avoid that.
It's going to be interesting to see how healthy Yordan Alvarez is.
Detroit is down in their game to the White Sox today. Last I looked, it was 9-4 White Sox. White Sox have gone on quite a run this last week.
Yep.
I mean, they lost their 121st game, but otherwise they've had a very good week. It's 9-4 Chicago in the 7th. And Maton gets a call, third strike. Ortiz caught looking, and that's the second out.
Gary, will they have a better winning percentage than 62 Mets if they win today, the White Sox?
Well, they'll have 41 wins and 121 losses, so yes, because the Mets were 40 and 120. One more win, one more loss. That's When you're under 500, 1 win and 1 loss pushes you up. When you're over 500, 1 win and 1 loss pushes you down. Slashed foul off the bat of Bryce Turang. Mets have held Turang in check today, 0 for 3. He's cringing because that ball sailed into the photo box very quickly. He's afraid that somebody might have gotten struck,
including our own.
You okay down there, Steve? Hit up the middle, and Iglesias won't get to that, and Turang's got a base hit. And so the Brewers have 2 men on in the 8th. With Jackson Chourio coming up. So a couple of soft hits for the Brewers here in the 8th inning.
Look how quickly Taylor closes on this ground ball. He's just so jackrabbit out there.
I thought he was a cheetah.
Well, we'll mix it up a little bit.
Well, with the Brewers threatening here in the 8th inning, it looks like Edwin Diaz is going to grab a baseball. And the Mets may not have the luxury of saving him for tomorrow. Certainly have to secure this game before you start worrying about tomorrow's doubleheader.
No question.
After we're done here, don't forget to keep it tuned for a Mets postgame live. Gary Apple, Jerry Blevins, Todd Zeal will have all the highlights, all the analysis, all the stuff, the highlights, the statistics, the whole deal. And then we'll have both games tomorrow. I know that's a shock because, you know, there'll be big games.
Yeah.
But if the Mets play in Atlanta tomorrow, we will have both games.
They're going to let us do them?
On SNY.
That's very nice of them.
And you're coming, right?
I'm in.
You're coming?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll all be there. Even Steve. 2 out and 2 on. Here's Jackson Chourio, who's 1 for 3, had an infield hit back in the first. And he swings and misses at a first pitch fastball. So Maton had a little extra zip on that, 0-1. Sanchez at second, Turang at first with 2 out. Diaz just throwing lightly in the bullpen for now. One dribbled foul, and it's 0-2.
He has that curveball that he casts towards the plate, and not only does it kind of defeat you with its break, but it's a changeup curveball. It just doesn't get there.
And he has everything that moves. He's got the cutter, he's got the sweeper, and then that slower curve. Tried it again. And Torrens blocks it. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Brewers had just 1 hit over 7 innings against Peterson. 2 hits here in the 8th. 2 of their 3 hits today have been infield singles. And Chourio flies one to deep left field. Nimmo back on the warning track right at the fence to make the catch. Chourio was that close to a 3-run homer that would have gotten the Brewers right back in the game, but the ballpark big enough to hold it, and Maton able to put up a 0 in the 8th. That close. On to the 9th, 5-0 New York. Gil Hall as we start the 9th inning. Mark has 2 hits today, a single to center in the 5th, a liner off the pitcher's wrist in the 6th. Down to the count 0-2. Vientos, then Alonso and Martinez. And with the Mets having protected a 5-0 lead, Edwin Diaz is no longer throwing. Adam Ottavino is up in the Mets bullpen. Diaz is still on call just in case, but he's not doing any throwing. A couple of guys get on in the bottom of the 9th. He'll start throwing again. He is extremely good at knowing how hard to get ready when he has to.
Well, I think he has the ability, and after he's loose, Gary, just playing catch, 10 throws, he's ready to go.
So once he spots trouble and sees the opening might be there, all of a sudden the machine gets activated. Back foot slider misses, and it's 2-2. They've gone to the bottom of the 8th in Arizona, 9-2 Diamondbacks. Bottom of the 8th in Atlanta, 4-2 Royals. Also, in that game in Phoenix, Luis Arraez is 1 for 3, and it looks like he has locked up his 3rd straight batting title.
Amazing.
First player ever to do it for 3 different teams.
How about that?
That's the most amazing part to me.
Well, it doesn't really matter. You're the same hitter.
That's right, but still.
It's just.
Well, it tells you what baseball covets. That a guy that can win 3 batting titles moves around 3 times.
Yes, you think they wouldn't trade.
That one hugs the line, and the throw to first, nicely done by Haas. Haas pounced on that ball, seeing it might stay fair, and made a nice play and threw a bullet to get Vientos.
Quick, nice little slide, come up, perfect throw to the first baseman. By the way, Bauer looks like a first baseman, doesn't he? I've been watching him the whole game.
He's a really good defensive player.
He is knows what he's doing around the bag.
Played a lot of outfield for the Yankees last year. There's Pete Alonso, 0 for 2. He's also reached on a walk and a hit by pitch. And he punches one to the right side, and there is Bowers to grab it, 2 out.
Well, here you go. Down on the knee, then pops up.
And all coordinated, though. He was sliding, but with every intention of planting that right foot when he got up to make the overhand throw. It was beautiful.
So 2 out. Here's J.D. Martinez, 1 for 4. So with Arias winning the batting title, holding off Shohei Ohtani, who's 1 for 4 today and is hitting .310, that means that Joe Medwick is safe for another year.
Yes, he is. 1937.
87 years since a National League player won the Triple Crown, leading the league in batting average, home runs, and RBIs. And several have come close, but nobody's done it since Joe Medwick in 1937.
The Ducky is still king.
That's the most recent American leaguer to hit for the Triple Crown was Miguel Cabrera. And that created a lot of controversy because that year Mike Trout had an amazing year and all the advanced metrics favored him, but Cabrera beat him out for the MVP by virtue of the old school Triple Crown.
Well, Triple Crown's pretty awesome accomplishment.
It is.
It better always be a school.
3-2 to Martinez. In the bottom of the 9th, the Brewers are due to send up Monasterio, Bowers, and Haas. And it looks like Adam Ottavino will get the 9th. And then Diaz on call in case there's any trouble. But in a perfect world, Diaz would be saved for tomorrow. 3-2. And it's hit hard down to third. Pass to diving Monasterio and into left field. And Martinez has his second hit of the day. So JD starting to get the payoff. Couple of hits and a line drive that was caught.
He could have very easily had 3 hits today. So that is a good sign going into postseason. They're going to pinch run with Acuna. And that also gets Bader in at bat. That's a good thing.
Bader started in center field last night and went 0 for 2. So JD after that 0 for 36 went by the wayside on a double in the 4th. Adds his second hit of the game.
You almost would love to see Acuna against the left-hander try to steal a bag, something that he might have to do if you're lucky enough to make it to the postseason.
It's the one thing we haven't seen him do.
Right?
He's only had 1 stolen base attempt. He had 40 in the minors this year, 40 steals. Fouled off. For J.D. Martinez, the 2 hits today, his first multiple hit game in September. And perhaps a sign of things to come. What could the Mets use J.D. Martinez looking like this in the postseason if they're able to get there? Acuna ran and stopped and goes back as Bader struck out to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the 9th. Mets trying to reduce their magic number to 1. Time for your Audi electrifying play of the week, and it's the performance by David Peterson today.
Well, it was just something to watch. The way he moved the ball around, used his breaking ball, curveball, and slider. But it was going after the hitters, aggressive, which was the key.
Eddie Alvarez in to play second base. Jose Iglesias moves to third. Edwin Diaz is going to pitch the 9th inning in a 5-0 game. We thought perhaps he'd be held at least until there was a threat, but they're going to go right with Diaz with a 5-run lead with a doubleheader looming tomorrow.
Well, to me, this move was made because the guys in the bullpen have struggled at times to have those 1, 2, 3 innings, and he did with Diaz warm. He did not want him to have to come in with 2 to 3 runners on. That's what I think.
I feel too he hasn't pitched in a week, and get him fine-tuned here. You want a quick inning, and he'll be ready to go both games if he has to.
You know, just the math of sweeping a doubleheader is not in your favor. So win this game and worry about tomorrow.
Andrew Monasterio up for the first time, and that one goes to the backstop, 2-2. Jake Bauers on deck, and then Eric Haas. Well, or it could be that they've determined that they're not going to use Diaz in 2 games tomorrow.
Yeah.
So they can use him today. They can use him tomorrow once.
I don't know. It's big boy time, Gary.
Well, we saw that in his last outing, that 6-out save against the Phillies on Sunday night. He was never better, and that was when Carlos Mendoza made reference to big boy time. Monasterio down on the slider, and Diaz has the first out in the bottom of the 9th.
Oh, that was huge.
Wicked.
All fastballs until the slider at the end.
Wicked.
The only way a team that has won their division, and it's the 9th inning of the last game for them to come back, is walks. Just go after him.
As Jake Bauers is 0 for 3. He takes a slider at his feet for ball 1. And a swing and a miss at a 97-mile-an-hour fastball.
Hey, I am just pleased that he's throwing fastballs because he's got good life on that fastball. I'm just so happy to see him go back to it.
It was a month ago today that Edwin Diaz saved a game against Arizona the day after he gave up a grand slam to Corbin Carroll. It was August 29th. And we pinpointed it at the time, and it really has come to pass that that was the most important inning for the Mets this season. A, it got Diaz back on track. B, the Mets went 18-5 starting that day. And C, and probably most importantly, they clinched the season series against the Diamondbacks that day, which is working in their favor right now as we go into these final hours of the season.
You know, the only way you could look at it with a scance is that the Brewers are getting to see Diaz in case the Mets have to come back here and face them in the wild card series. But who got to see him? Monasterio, Bauers, and Haas.
And he walks Bauers, so a 1-out base runner for the Brewers. And now Garrett Mitchell is going to bat for Eric Haas. Well, what's apparent with Diaz so far today, and I don't know if it's because it's a 5-run lead or he hasn't pitched in a week, but his velocity is way down. He was throwing 99, 100, 101 last weekend. And he's been more in the 97 range today. So here's Mitchell. He started last night and went 1 for 3. Bauers takes second on defensive indifference.
The psychology of the closer, pitching in a game he's winning by 5 runs.
Ball and a strike to Mitchell. And the one thing you don't want is for Diaz to have a 25-pitch inning, which affects him for tomorrow.
Precisely. So the walk didn't help. The double play is out now.
1-2 now to Mitchell. Well, he doesn't get many double play balls anyway.
Well, his run means nothing, and I wouldn't hold him on with a left-hand hitter.
Ahead on Mitchell, 1-2. And he fouls back that high fastball. That one got to 99. It's now 11-2 Arizona as they play in the 8th inning. So the Mets almost certainly are not going to clinch the postseason berth today. They'll have to do it in Atlanta tomorrow. 1-2 coming to Mitchell. And the slider misses down, 2-2. Isaac Collins is the on-deck batter.
Interesting, Keith, with the 5-0 deficit. The Brewers is throwing more sliders than he has in his last few outings.
Two coming. Up and away, full count. So exactly what the Mets didn't want to see has come to pass. 3 straight full counts for Diaz, who's about to throw his 20th pitch of the inning. Three-two coming to Mitchell. And he struck him out. Got him with a slider. 2 men down.
Made him look bad there. Completely fooled him.
So the Brewers are down to their final out.
Watch the swing. That is called iron fold. He was so far out in front.
Now Isaac Collins will bat left-handed for the first time today, and he takes up and away for ball 1. Collins looking for his first big league hit as a left-hand batter. He's gone 0 for 6. 0 for 3 in this game. A couple of strikeouts. And he takes fastball strike. 1-1. First pitch tomorrow at 1:10 from Atlanta. Mets and Braves once or twice. 1-1 coming. Up and away. 2 balls and a strike. And we'll have all of it for you on SNY. Beginning with our pregame coverage tomorrow at 12:30. One day after the season ended, just like the Mets did it in 1973. 2 balls and a strike to Collins, and a fastball missed somewhere, and now it's 3-1.
A little up in the strike zone. Boy, oh boy, is he going to push 30 out here today? 30 pitches?
There's nobody up behind him in the bullpen. So Carlos Mendoza riding Diaz. 3-1. Swing and a miss, and now the Brewers are down to their final strike. I mean, he's clearly not throwing his hardest today. Well, trying to put this game to bed and get the Mets to Atlanta with 1 more left to win. 3-2.
He struck him out, and the ball game is over. The Mets finally beat the Brewers in their final try. And in all probability, they will be heading to Atlanta tomorrow, needing to win 1 more game to get into the postseason in 2024. David Peterson was brilliant. The Mets scored early and often, and the Mets beat the Brewers 5-0.
Well, we came on the air talking about the biggest game of David Peterson's life, and he lived up to it. Only 1 hit, allowed over 7 innings, and the offense, right from the start, made sure that they were aggressive, stolen bases, getting guys over, getting guys in.
They came in with intent to get this job done, and they did. And Peterson, what can you say? 1 hit, 7 innings, 1 hit, shutout. Nicely done.
And maybe the most important thing that happened today, J.D. Martinez breaking out with 2 hits, another line drive, and maybe that is the start of a trend in an entirely different direction for the Mets DH. Carlos Mendoza said, "We got him for games like this," and he came through today. Mets get the shutout victory, 88-72. 2 more games left to play in Atlanta tomorrow. Only 1 win necessary for the Mets to get into the postseason. The Amazing Mets Foundation is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Cass Institute for Women's Health for every Mets win. For more information, visit northwell.edu/cats. The total contribution so far this season is $220,000. Mets win this one 5-0. We'll come back with more from Milwaukee in just a moment.